Good afternoon. This is Pastor Karl from St. Peter's United Methodist Church with an update for today, Friday, May the 1st. Please join us this Sunday for our online Sunday morning worship. It will be available on YouTube. We hope that you'll join us for that. Also, we will be sending out email invitations for our Wednesday evening prayer meeting, which will happen on Zoom, and that's Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock. I want to ask you, as we continue living in quarantine, how is your patience? Are you getting tired of waiting? Are you tired of waiting for the world to open back up? Are you tired of waiting to be able to go get a haircut or to go out to eat dinner in a restaurant? Are you tired of waiting to be able to get back to church? I know I'm tired of waiting to be able to preach to a room full of people instead of a camera or speaking to a cell phone. And it's hard to be patient sometimes because we want things to be resolved on our schedule. Well, I want to share with you something today. This comes from a book called A Minute of Margin, and this book is written by Richard A. Swenson, and it's called Restoring Balance to Busy Lives. He writes, "It is not surprising that so many of us are in such a hurry. To us, each day seems but a carbon copy of the same busyness of yesterday and the same stress coming tomorrow. God, however, was fond of such words as wait, rest, and be still. Whatever happened to these words? In the past, people of faith spoke such words and believed in such concepts. Today, no one even utters them, at least not in any functionally meaningful way. To learn the grace of stillness in the midst of busyness is much needed oxygen for exhausted people everywhere. Perhaps we can rediscover the sacred pace of Jesus. Overload and hurry are not prerequisites for service, but enemies of faith." The late Bob Benson told of a TV evangelist who developed throat problems and was advised he shouldn't speak for 3 months. This, he protested, was impossible. So he prayed, and God miraculously healed him. Benson reflected, "Can you imagine telling God, the God in whom there is no beginning and no ending, the eternal, always was and always will be God, the God who buries tulip bulbs in the darkness of the soil, the God who hides oak trees in acorns. Can you imagine telling this God that you don't have 3 months to wait? It seems bold to me, to say the very least, to say this to God who knew you long before you ever came to be. To suggest to this God, who has promised to gather up all your life and transform it into the goodness of his purpose, that he should get on with it because you don't have time to dilly-dally around, well, that's pretty daring. I can almost hear God saying, I think I'll just heal him. It will be easier than explaining it to him." Of course, we are to be active on behalf of the kingdom. To put a hammock on a hilltop and admire cloud formations until Jesus comes is not the kind of waiting that we are advocating. But when our impatience begins to tell God how to run his affairs, we have crossed an important line. I know that, like me, you're anxious for the world to get back to normal, for life to return to some sense of normalcy. It seems to be a phrase I'm using a lot these days. I know you're anxious for that to happen. But we need to be patient. We need to wait. It will happen in God's time. And so my prayer for you this day is that God grant you patience, and that in this time of waiting, that God reveals himself to you in a new way, to where you have a clearer understanding of his will for your life. God bless you, and remember, I am praying for you.